Hello everyone, it's Natasha from Treasure Books. Today I wanted to play a little bit in my junk journal, and as I was sort of flipping through and thinking about what I wanted to do, I realized I have a lot of gluing, I have a lot of words and things like that, I have a lot of tags and lots of little things in here, and I wanted to add something different. I wanted to add an element that I don't already have in this book, and I decided to do something with like a little twine binding closure, so maybe a little pocket or a flip down with a little twine binding closure. So I had an idea. I was looking at some of my things, and I have a journal here, and I use this type closure here on this journal, and then there's an envelope over here that also has that circle binding type of closure. And then I've also done something like this before, and I had a request to do a little tutorial on this type of closure. So I thought maybe I can add something like this in the journal today. And I want to work on this page here. So I have already chosen my paper that I want to use. I wanted something brown, and I didn't want to sort of cut into a brand new piece of paper. So I had this floating around. And I think it will look okay. I will make it work, even though this side is blue and it doesn't really go. But I want to challenge myself a little bit and see what I can do and how I can make it work. So first thing I want to do is measure approximately how wide I want it to be. So let's say this is my page here, and approximately I want it about maybe this wide. So I'm going to go cut that down, and I'll come right back. Okay, so here is my piece of paper that I've chosen, and I just want to now double check here. That's going to be the inside, and I want it to flip open, so maybe I think that looks like about the right size. So I'm just going to make those creases, and I might move my journal out of the way for now. Let's see how that's gonna look. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So that will be the size. And now I am going to move this journal out of the way because I don't need it until the very end. Okay, so here's my little piece of paper. Before I start doing anything else, I want to plan it out and what I'm going to do with it. So let's say I have one of these tea-dyed little index cards. That's going to be my pocket here. And now I want to put something on top, so I'm going to go into I just pulled this out, some of my die cuts, and you know that I have this in here, so that's going to look good. I think with this corresponding page has a little bit of black, so I want to make sure that I add some black in there so that it can be, you know, sort of match. And then I will have my closure on top of here and on top of here. Okay, so for my closure, I need 2 different size circles. And before I had these punches, I was just cutting out circles by hand. So by all means, it can be done. And then I'm using just, you know, cereal box, just a cereal box. So here we go. I need 2 large circles. These are my 2 large circles. And now I need 2 small circles. So for the inside, I was looking for something black, so maybe this will work. I'm going to try it out and see. I'm just going to see how this is going to look. So here we go. I think it will look okay. It's not the best choice, but I really don't want to spend time rummaging through my stuff. So I'm just going to work with what I've got here. So the first thing I want to do is just ink some edges over here. And I'm going to use my black ink because I want a little bit of that black. And maybe while I'm at it, I'll ink these little ones too, just so they have that defined edge. I think that's going to be okay. So firstly, I want to add a brad over here, and then I'm going to glue it on there because I don't want my brad showing through. I don't want to put it all through all of the layers because I don't want my brad to be visible inside. And I also don't want my brad in here because this will be a pocket, so I don't want it to be catching. So I'm just going to add a brad right through the center of this, and then I'll glue that down. Okay, and I think gold is the way to go. So I'm gonna find some gold brads. Here's one here. There we go. I just need 2 brads. And making sure that everything is nice and centered. I'm going to poke a hole right in the middle. Maybe I need something underneath, so I'll just poke a hole right in the middle and then place my brad through and close the little legs on the other side. Because I will have some sort of a twine around this, I just want to work it a little bit so it's not flat, completely flat against the die cut that I have underneath. All right, so that's ready to go. And now this one here, I can actually pop straight through because I don't mind the brad showing here. I might even cover it up with something later. But for now, I'm just going to complete my little circle with the brad. And I haven't closed the little feet at the back yet because I want to put that right through here. So I'm just going to choose a spot, just eyeballing it. Doesn't have to be perfect. Pop that through, and then I'm going to close the little feet. Okay, my next step would be to glue this down, but I just want to do some inking around the edges over here before I glue it down. So I'll use whatever's left on my little thing here, just to give it a little bit of an edge like that. Maybe some sewing would be nice. I might go and put it through my sewing machine actually. Okay, I've put that through my sewing machine just on the sides here, so it emphasizes the fact that this will be a pocket. And I might just trim off these threads over here. And I think that looks quite good like this. So I am going to first glue down my pocket. So I'm just applying glue to where my sewing is. Here we go, just a little bit of glue. I'm going to glue that down, just like that. Before I glue this on, because there's a brad there that's not completely flat, I actually wanted to cover the inside because it's this blue color, and I want to put something here to hide the blue colors. If this was all white on the inside, I could just leave it as it is, but I really want to cover this because the blue doesn't go with my journal. So firstly, I'm going to ink the edges because that always makes everything looks nicer, and perhaps black wouldn't work. Maybe for this one I'll just use my brown. Okay, and now I'm going to use my tea dyed paper to cover the inside. And what I do, this is just scrap, a paper that was clear on one side, and I just tea dyed it. And now I'm going to just cover the individual sections. I'm not going to cover the whole thing. So I'm going to just rip the edges to give it a nicer sort of a look. And then I want to see approximately, rip it here, and I'm going to do my other section. I'm going to hang on to all of these pieces because I can use them in my projects, and it will be something like this. I first need to ink the edges, and I think this looks good just as it is, but I'm going to go ahead and just do an extra little step, and I'm going to add some wiggly sewing around the edges. I'll be right back. Here we go. My 2 panels are done. I'm getting rid of the threads. And now I just want to check how it's going to look in my journal. So this blue is still bugging me. It's bothering me. So I might just ink it as much as I can before I glue down my little pieces. So I'm trying to somewhat change the color of this blue. So let's see how it's gonna look. Make it look more brown, I guess, or more vintagey, just so it's more acceptable to me anyway. So this kind of thing I always do with those papers that are not so pretty or vintagey looking. I have a lot of papers that I don't really like anymore, bright pinks and yellows and bright greens and colors like this. So I just ink them to death really. Okay, now I think I'm happy with this. So my next step will be just to glue these down. So I'm going to speed this process up. First I'm going to use my glue stick all over, and then I'll apply some of my other glue only on the edges, just to make sure that this doesn't come off. Okay, now that that's done, I want to make sure there's no glue seeping because I don't want anything being glued. And I'm thinking maybe something up the top here as well would be nice. So maybe even if I use a little bit of this. I'm going to put that there, and then maybe I can glue a little sentiment or something. I think that looks quite nice. I'll put a little sentiment up here. Let's see what I can find. I think anything will do, but I do happen to have this Tim Holtz one. I found the good one because I will use this for journaling. So I found this one here that says collect beautiful moments, and I think I'm going to go with that. Ooh. I'm just wondering if I can just put it straight down or maybe use something like this. Okay, I think that looks all right. I'm going to glue it down and then pop this over the top, and that's what I did. I think it looks okay. Let's zoom out. I just feel like maybe a little bit of bling will just make it look that much nicer. So I'm going to add this. Okay, and that's my inside done, and I'm quite happy with how this looks. And now I'm going to complete my closure. Make sure everything's glued down. This is nice and glued. Okay, so now I just need to glue this over here. Just wondering if maybe I can ink it a little bit. So I just applied glue to the bottom section so that it's not closing my pocket. And just there, like that. So that's my little pocket there. I'm going to put something in there in a moment. And I need to check that they are in line, which luckily they are because I didn't check that before gluing it down. And I'm just going to ink this a little bit. I feel like black will look better. Okay, so now I'm adding my closure, and I was going to use this. It would look okay, but I'm thinking something like this will look even better. I've got this gold type of yarn thread, and I think it will look nice because of the gold brads over here. So first thing I'm going to do, I haven't trimmed it down yet, but first thing I'm going to do is attach it over here. So I just go underneath and I will make a knot, but I'm going to hold this down with my scissors so it's not moving around. I'm going to make a knot, and it's going to go all the way in there underneath, and then I'll make another knot. It's going to go all the way there. Maybe I'll even make another knot up here. Why not? Make sure that it's really secure. There we go. And now I want to trim this off because I don't need this part. So I'll try and get as close as possible as I can so that it's not showing. Whoop. All right, so that's attached, and now I want to see how I'm going to wrap it. Go once, maybe twice, maybe that'll be enough, and I'll just trim it. I might want to add a little bead or something, I'll see. So I just left it a little bit longer. So I thought maybe I can add some gold beads at the end, but I'm not sure how this is going to work. I can't actually pop it straight through because it's unraveling a little bit, so I'll try and do it with my needle. Okay, let's see if this will work. I hope so. Ooh, it's worked. I've got some little beads over here. And then maybe I can tie a knot down here. Tie a couple of knots so that they don't come off. And here we go. That looks quite nice. So it opens like this, and then it opens like that and like that. But I need to still add something in here, so I'll go back to my maybe I can make a little tag out of this, or find a tag. Let's see what I've got in my stash. Okay, I found these tags in my stash, so I'm gonna try and make them look nice. They're not very great quality ones, but let's see what we can do. And then maybe here I'll make a little tag out of this. Just checking to see how this is gonna look. Look, I think that's going to look okay. Maybe I can add something up the top over here. Why not use a little bit of that? Make it all nice and cohesive. And then on this one, I'm thinking maybe do something a little bit different. Still make it look nice and cohesive. So let's see how this is going to look. I don't know if it will work, but maybe this can be my little tag topper. I decided to add a little brad, same one that I've got here, onto the middle of my circle over here. And that's going to hold that in place and adding a little bit more cohesiveness to the overall little project. So here we go. It's not in the middle, but that's fine. I wonder if what's going to happen if I maybe tie a little bow. Or maybe just leave it like that. I think that looks okay, just like that. And then of course I can come back to this on another day and add, you know, embellish these tags. But for now, I think I'm quite happy with this, how this is looking. I'm going to wrap this around, and my final step will be to add this to my journal. So here is my journal. And I'm just wondering if I want to maybe just glue just that there and then leave this as a pocket, but my journal is already getting really thick and I still have plenty of pages to work on. I might even be able to leave this as a floating pocket, but I think I will just glue it down. And I might just glue the two sides. So I'm going to turn it right around and apply glue just over here. Okay, let's see how it's looking. I'm quite happy with how this turned out. It's another little interesting element for the journal, and I think the whole point of this little activity that we do is just to be able to have a little bit of fun. You're thinking about pretty much nothing. You're not thinking about the problems that you have. You're just in the zone creating, and it's a nice little escape. So what I've done here is I left this as a side loading pocket, so I could use something like this. Was just here on my desk, but I could use that to have something else in there for a little bit more interest. I could have glued the three sides down and have it as a top loading pocket. I think this type of a closure, it's quite a nice little thing to know how to do, because you can use it many different ways. So like for example, this one that I showed at the front, at the beginning, I've only got the one, there's nothing at the back. I've only got the one little circle thing here, and then this is wrapped underneath, and then, you know, I have it tied underneath, and then it just, you know, can go around like this, like that, or, you know, that's my closure for this journal, and it looks quite nice. So there's many different ways of utilizing this idea. I hope that you have lots of ideas in your mind right now on what you can do with it. I hope you enjoyed the process. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you so much for being here with me today, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!